Now, after losing 2 points to Everton and losing again 3 points to Fulham, it's time we go back to our winning ways. Now, Chelsea is taking on Ipswich Town. Now, before we get into the match preview, let's react to a couple of comments online concerning Chelsea, some from Maresca and some from Fabrizio Romano. Now, to start with, we have a bit of good news. Rhys James is back in training. Now, we don't know. We don't know when he's gonna come on the pitch, to actually play for Chelsea, the club that actually pays him to play. Now, if it was for me, I would probably save him for the Man City game, which will come after the Crystal Palace game. Now, I wouldn't rush him for the Ipswich Town, which I don't actually think he's gonna play for that one. And again, I wouldn't rush him for the Crystal Palace game. I'll probably play him or save him for the Man City game because Gusto hasn't been the Gusto that we really want him to be, or the Gusto of last season, the past couple of seasons. So I wouldn't rush Rhys James. And I think as per the doctor's sort of instruction as well, there is no way they're gonna play him at Ipswich or Crystal Palace. So for me, I'm hoping that we see him at the Etihad when we face Manchester City. Now, there are a couple of players that are going to leave Chelsea probably in January. We have the obvious ones like Ben Chilwell, Kani Chukwemeka, Cesare Casade, maybe some other ones in there. Maybe the likes of Giu can go to loan, and maybe a couple of players in there like Jude Hall. I don't know about João Felix. Now, there were some reports talking about how Maresca didn't really want João Felix. Now, it's not a surprise to us because we knew that the João Felix deal was never a priority for us. I think our first option was the Amaro Dion deal. Now, that deal fell apart and we ended up going for the João Felix deal because our main goal for that deal was to sell Conor Gallagher. That was our main deal. So for us, it wasn't a matter of bringing someone that we needed. It was more so about letting someone that we didn't need like in Conor Gallagher. We didn't need Conor Gallagher. So that's why that deal was ended up happening, and we ended up getting we got João Felix. Because the question is, everybody always asks, why isn't Maresca playing João Felix? There's so many games we played this season. I can say from the Nottingham Forest game, the Everton game, even the Fulham game. We were playing teams that was playing with a deep block, leaving short spaces in our attack for to actually go improve themselves and actually creating chances and score goals. Now, everyone was asking, why don't you play João Felix? Because everybody knows. Sorry, I don't know, there's a cobweb. I don't even know where it's coming from. Now, everybody was asking, why didn't you put João Felix in? Because João Felix is so much of a technical player that those are the games that actually suits him. But from the past couple of games, he's only been making like one substitute in like 75 minutes. Now, that's another conversation on its own. But the whole point is, they're saying that Maresca didn't want João Felix. João Felix only came because we wanted to get rid of Gallagher, because Atletico Madrid, they wanted us to sell them someone so that they can buy Conor Gallagher. Now, I'm not even surprised about that deal. Now, in terms of January coming, Chelsea are not really, really looking into buying players as per Fabrizio Romano. And again, it makes much more sense because if I'm looking at our squad, right? Yes, of course, we can strengthen in terms of our defense, or we can even strengthen in terms of our front line. We need a proper striker. Now, Jackson is a good footballer. He can score goals. But there were times where we really needed someone that is good in terms of being clinical. Now, I can take a striker and I can take a central defender. But again, if we don't bring anyone, I'm not really concerned because Tosin, as much as we might not rate him as much, to me, he can do the job. And obviously, Fofana might even come back in the middle of the season, or maybe not. But again, I don't think our stress is more so to get another central defender because again, we still have Badia Sheila in there, and obviously Disas. So we need to get rid of these players before we can even talk about bringing in more players. Now, talking about bringing in players, there is a player that apparently Chelsea are looking into. And Enzo Maresca has already made a comment about this player. And I think we all have watched him this season, and he's impressive. His name is Liam Delap from Ipswich Town, which we're going to face on Monday night. Now, for me, I would rather keep my Jackson than to go and buy another striker and then, create this sort of situation where we don't have a place to play them. Because look at our bench, we have so many good players that we can't even fit in the team right now. So to go buy a player like Liam Diab, yes, of course, the future looks to be bright for him. He's a good player, but I wouldn't stress much into going and buying him. Now, another thing we need to talk about is the Madueke thing, because a lot of people were asking, like, why didn't Madueke, came on to play? Why he wasn't even on the bench? But for me, I know Maresca said it was a technical decision. But what do you mean by technical decision? When I look at our bench here, there were so many good players, yes, but there were other players that could have replaced with Madueke. And looking at the game we played against Fulham, Madueke could have. I don't rate him. I think to me is an average, very like bottom of the average. I don't rate Madueke at all. But there are games where I do cry for him, especially when Pedro Neto is not performing like the previous game. Pedro Neto was not performing at all. Now let's look into Ipswich Town, because for me, I don't I can't sit here and say to you guys that I watch Ipswich week in and week out. But don't get me wrong, there are a couple of games I've watched. From what I know of them is that Kieran McKenna made them to play really good football. The problem with teams like the Ipswich Town is no matter how much good football they can play, sometimes they do lack quality. Now they do have obviously the likes of Liam Dillap, and then they obviously Hutchinson and a couple of other good players, but they always fall short when it comes to having a good quality, even on their bench and stuff like that. But they do play some really nice football, and I think the football that they play and the football that we play, it's almost similar. Possession-based football, running in behind. So my thing is, I don't look at them and feel like, yes, it's a guaranteed 3 points. Because, first of all, in the Premier League, you can't really guarantee points, because each and every team you're going to play against, they're always going to give you trouble. Look at us. We just lost to Fulham. Good team again. We just drew to Everton. Good team again. So, I watched the game they played against Arsenal, and I thought in a different day, or on a different day, they could have at least scored a goal. Or maybe, I know people are fixated about them not having a shot on target, but that doesn't really spell the whole game, because they did have their chances. Not having a shot on target doesn't mean they didn't have a chance. They did have some chances which they could have actually equalized. So for me, when I look at the way they played against Arsenal, yes, of course, Arsenal have not been the Arsenal of past two seasons, but so have we. We have not really been that great either. Yes, of course, this season we might be better than the previous other season, but we're not that great. At the end of the day, we still make so many mistakes. We still concede goals. Sometimes we don't even take our own chances. So I'm still rooting for Chelsea to win, not only because it's my team, but I'm talking about quality. And I think the fact that we have lost two, so we have dropped almost, actually we have dropped 6 points. Is it? We've dropped 5 out of 6 points in our last two games. It to me gives me a bit of confidence that it's time we step up and actually win the game. So I'm gonna go for Chelsea. I would say 3-1, because when it comes to conceding goals, we just be giving goals, just to everyone. Everyone can come and get goals at Chelsea. But yeah, man, that's that's, I think, mostly we can talk about it. In terms of lineup prediction, I can't really predict who I'm thinking is gonna be there, but obviously you still got the likes of Cole Palmer, Sanchez. They're gonna start. But if it was for me, I would give Petrovic a chance, because obviously you know how I feel about Robert Sanchez. I don't give a shit whether he played really better in the last two games, but I just don't rate him at all. So if you can give Robert Sanchez a chance, I'll I will happily take him to be in my lineup. Yeah, and hopefully Madueke can come and also respond. Obviously he didn't play last time, so I would like him to come in on the lineup and actually prove himself to be, somewhat of a worth being at Chelsea. So yeah, people, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the review. We are.